Today I'm sharing with you an amazing jacket that I've made for myself. I've never been so proud of a make. It's so nice, so elegant, so full of details. I'm so in love with this jacket and I'll be sharing all the details about it. Black and green, tiny houndstooth lining, asymmetric neckline with zippers. Super nice jacket to see. Stay with me. Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina from liftingpinsandneedles.com. Welcome to this channel that is all about sewing, limitless sewing. Today I have a jacket pattern to share with you. Really enjoy the process. It's a type of pattern that you prepare yourself with, read instructions, take a few days from your life to just do this slowly. Slows you down. You don't need to make everything super fast. Everything doesn't need to be easy from knit fabrics. There are some projects that will give you a lot of pride and joy, and you will just feel so amazing when you wear something like this, that if you wanted to purchase in ready to wear will cost you hundreds of dollars and will probably not fit you properly either. So this is super worthwhile to make a type of jacket like this. And this is a Cerro Alto Jacket from Itch to Stitch. I wasn't a pattern tester for this one. I think there were things going on back when this was in testing about 2 months ago. I was pretty devastated not to test because I am an avid pattern tester for Itch to Stitch. I think I own every single pattern and have tested many of them since 2017. So I really enjoy testing for Kenneth. She always makes beautiful patterns that fit really well. And the thing that gets me motivated a lot is that there are some patterns there that just have so many nice details that you won't find anywhere else, that have maybe some advanced techniques that will help you grow in your sewing. If you take the approach of just sewing easy, you could be sewing like that in that same approach for 10 years and not grow in your sewing, not learn new techniques. I do encourage you, if you've made a few garments before, I encourage you to look for patterns that have details and techniques that you might not know, because it will help you grow. And growing is always good in everything that we do, in all aspects of life, and also in a craft that we like doing as well for ourselves. Itch to Stitch as a brand is 6 years old, and there is a sale going on, 20% to 25%. Most of the patterns are 25% off. The recent release patterns are 20% off. I'm putting them on the screen there. So if you want to get your favorites, get them now because they cost less. I have made a lot, so you can see a lot of them made here. All of my videos with sewing footage and practical content for you to help you make these patterns. So have a look. My affiliate link is down below. I make a little commission from these sales, and this is part of the way I earn an income, and it supports the work that I do here on this channel, making all this content. So thank you so much if you use my link. This jacket is like the elegant version of a Moto jacket. You've seen those jackets that have asymmetric fronts with asymmetric zippers. I have made a few in the past already. I have made one that was pretty complex, fully lined. And then I made a really simplified version in Ponte Roma, which also has a really nice look but was really easy to sew. Now this one has a bit more details, and it's a really nice jacket that is fully lined. It's got bust cup sizes, as always with woven patterns for Itch to Stitch. You'll find cup sizes from A to double D. So being a fitted jacket, it's really important to get that nice fit at the bust. Plus, there are also princess seams on the front and the back, which helps a lot with customizing the fit to yourself. So I love that. There are also details that you could use with contrast fabric, like these little yoke pieces on the front, and there is a back yoke as well. The front is asymmetric, so the left and the right side will have a different shape, and the zipper will go into one of the princess seams. The one that is on the left wearer's side, when you zip up, this is where the zipper is going to be. Super fun. Also, there are these little pockets there, like zipper welt pockets. Super nice. They look really striking. And inside, it's fully lined. The neckline is finished with bias tape that you make from your same main fabric. So this type of bias tape is easier to work with than the flimsy ones that you use, like to finish necklines and things, because this is cut from the same main fabric. So that's how the neckline is finished. And then the hems of the sleeves are finished the same. At the bottom of the sleeve you cut your main fabric and the lining, and you finish all that with the bias tape made from the same fabric. The shoulder and sleeve feet are meant to be nice and fitted. You know, you have the shoulder at the shoulder, and the sleeves have two pieces, an upper sleeve and an under sleeve. That type of sleeve in a jacket like this is perfect because it gives you a beautiful fit, you know, with the curve of the arm and everything. So I always enjoy a two-piece sleeve, and I've even been known to transform a normal sleeve into a two-piece sleeve before, just because I wanted that nicer fit. So I truly enjoy a two-piece sleeve. It's always so much better in the fit. There are so many fabrics that you can use to make this jacket, depending on the look that you want. You could use wool, you can use suitings, you can use even like jacquards and brocades and things like that if you want like a fancy look. A gabardine will give you a more sporty look. Types of fabric like that. Some people have even made this in fake leather. I wouldn't do that. It's just too much work, and fake leather is terrible to sew. But if you have the patience and the proper presser foot, which I don't have, you can even try that if you want, if you are willing to take that challenge. You can use a contrast type fabric for the yoke pieces, as I mentioned, for the front yoke and the back. It could be a detail that you want to add. Product pictures modeled by Kenneth have a fake leather here on the yoke and then wool on the body. I think that looks amazing too. Super nice look. I love her jacket in that color. Beautiful. Because it's fully lined, you will need some lining fabric. I never go fancy on lining, like, you know, you can use silk and all that stuff to line things. I would never use silk to line things. If I had silk, I would rather make a blouse. So I just use poly satin lining fabric. Very nice, very soft. The one I have used in this opportunity, I have been carrying around me since New Zealand. I probably own it for like 10 years, and it's finally made it into a garment. It's beautiful because it matches the main fabric. My main fabric I've chosen is a suiting fabric, and I have shown this fabric in a recent fabric haul with pattern pairings. And this fabric is 52% cotton, 48% polyester, and it's got a tiny houndstooth on it. Impossible to tell what is right and wrong side of the fabric. Impossible. Like, you look at it and it's like, oh my gosh. So I had to scribble with chalk all over my pattern pieces to remind me that that was the wrong side of the fabric when I was sewing. Sizes 0 to 20 US are available in this pattern, and the highest bust measurement here at the double D cup is 49 inches circumference, and for the hips 48. Now it is a semi-fitted jacket. There is about 5 or 6 inches of positive ease at the bust, about 4 inches of positive ease at the hips, and it's nice and relaxed at the waist. Although there is some shaping there, it's not a really fitted jacket. It's not boxy either because it's really nicely shaped with all these princess seams. So I think it's just got the perfect ease to make it look really nice without looking shapeless or super tight. I love that. The length, if you measure from the nape down to the hem, depending on the size, will be from 23 to 24.5 inches. So it's not a long jacket. Moto jackets aren't long. I've made one in the past that was too short. But this length is perfect. It hits the mid hip. It doesn't reach the full hip at all. Sort of around the 20th of each month, I start thinking of options for the sew along I film for Patreon. So the Orchid Tea gets a full sew along from me every month. It's usually an intermediate to advanced pattern, and I film everything from top to finish. And I gave the ladies there an option of 3 patterns, and they chose the Cerro Alto Jacket. Thank you so much to all you lovely ladies that support me on Patreon. Your support means everything to me. It keeps me motivated, gets me sewing an advanced project every month to share with you, and just knowing that you took the extra leap to support me financially because you appreciate what I do on the channel means everything to me. It's just made a huge difference in my life, and I thank you so much that I'm able to make a living, have an income doing what I love and sharing my sewing with you. So thank you so much. It was really good for me to take it calmly and just follow the instructions, tick, tick, tick. Every instruction has a diagram that is amazing. All the sewing for this pattern is on Patreon. What you'll see in Up Close and So Personal is all the preparation work to make this jacket, all the pattern pieces, the lining pieces, what needs to be interfaced, cut out of what, some markings. You get like a good overview of what the jacket is. I'm promising you it's not that hard to put together if you just take your time and go following step by step. The instructions are beautiful. There are little notches and marks that match everywhere, and it's just a really nice process to slow down and get an amazing jacket. You'll get to see how my muslins fit, bit of a mid-sew try-on as well. Lots of practical things that you do before you sew, which are super important. So let's see that.
I have tried to give you my soul, but you can't love something you own. It's too late to repair.
I do have a layer underneath because, you know, you always wear a jacket with a layer, so I've tried it on like that. The princess seam there, you can see it fits pretty well. Maybe I could customize a little bit there. I'll just pin it in from the inside like 1/8 of an inch. I have already lowered the bust apex. I think the shoulder is okay. You can see the yoke piece, and there's yoke at the back, and it's a 2-piece sleeve. You can see the seam right there. I think I do need a little bit more space here at the hips, so I will add to the side seams a little. It's just that I need a 12 and a 14, and this is a straight 12. I sort of knew it was going to be fitted here, but I do want a fitted jacket, and the length of the sleeves is good. I don't need to modify that. I think I do need to bring it in a little bit here at the small of my back, and I'll just mark it with pins there. This is the bottom of the front of my muslin. Open it like that, and you can see that the front pieces are shorter than the side pieces. Don't think that is a mistake. That is part of the lining technique. So you will have a little bit longer here than the front pieces. Now, making the muslin really helped me determine how to cut my main fabric, because I always suffer with right side, wrong side, right wearer's side, all that sort of terminology. I made new pattern pieces after doing my adjustments. My original ones were just so massacred, so I just traced out, made new ones. So this is the right wearer's front, and you can see I've got the right side of the fabric up and my pattern there. So this is how I cut my main fabric, with the right side of the fabric up, so that I make sure that it's going to be on the right side of the body. And same as for the left, right there. You will see little circle marks. That's a faint circle there. Another circle down there. A triangle over there. So I've just shown you the front pieces, the right and the left. They are asymmetric. Remember I showed you on the muslin that these were shorter? Well, these are the other pieces. These are longer. This is the side back, the center back, and the side front. And they also have some notch marks and things to mark everywhere. Now about the center back. This piece has 2 lines here. So the one on the outer edge, this line is your center fold for the lining. And then this other line you need to fold away to cut the main piece. And what that does is make the lining a little bit wider, so that you have a pleat on the center back of the lining. So it does say on the pattern, you know, it says center back for main, and then it says center back for lining. Just make sure you're paying attention, and that you fold away this to cut your main, and then you fold it out again to cut the lining on the fold. So at the bottom of these pieces, you will see a line that says lining cut here, there, for these 3 pieces. So these are the ones that you actually need to cut from lining. The center fronts, you don't need to cut lining for those, because you have those interfaced facings from the same fabric, you know. So when you are finished cutting your main and you want to cut your lining, just fold these up, and you'll have the pattern pieces for the lining there. This is the side back, this is the side front. These are the side seams there. When you sew these together, you will see something with the pocket markings. There you can see a yellow mark for my zippered welt. It also goes off to the other pattern piece. So once you've sewn that there, you'll have the complete mark. The pocket will go across that seam there. But that's not for all the sizes. I think from sizes 00, 0 and 2 don't have this. The pocket is just on this piece, but for all the other sizes, it'll go off to the back there. So be careful to mark that properly. Part of giving this jacket structure is adding interfacing to the bottoms of these 3 pieces. So you have your side front, your center back, and your side back. At the bottom, they need to be interfaced. They don't provide you a pattern piece, but I made one because it was just easier. It basically has to be 3.5 inches wide or 9 centimeters. And then I just cut the length here of the widest piece, which is this one. So that's the widest one there. That one is a little bit less wide. So I just fold that away, and that's sort of there. And then this is the narrowest there. So I went ahead and cut all these pieces on the bias with my interfacing, and I'll just show you how. This is lightweight tailor's interfacing. I don't know if you'll see the details there. I'm actually not sure what this is, but it works really well. It's non-stretch. You can see, look, no stretch. So it's not for knit fabrics, right? So what she doesn't want is for you to cut your interfacing pieces like that. She wants you to cut them on the bias. So when you cut on the bias, look, you have sort of the same effect as you have in woven fabrics. So you have that flexibility for the jacket to move around and not fall stiff. So I got my pieces and cut them out like that on the bias. So all those little pieces were cut out and fused to the bottoms of all these pieces. These are the main pieces for the body of the jacket. Up here on the top, you have the back yoke. You can see a black outline behind the sort of green one. It's because there's two of these that are cut out. One is non-interfaced, one is interfaced. Next to that one, right there, are the front yokes. Now you cut 4 of those, so 2 pairs, one interfaced, one non-interfaced. So the black one there is the interfaced one, the green one is the non. Essentially the yoke pieces on the back and the front are double. The outer layers will be non-interfaced and the inner layers will be interfaced. Now these are the back pieces here. This is the back, it's cut on the fold. This is the piece that goes on the side of the back. These two here are front pieces. This larger, wider one is the one that goes on the right side of the body, on the right wearer's side. And this smaller one is the one that goes on the left. It is an asymmetric front. And you have 2 of each. One is non-interfaced, that will be the outer layer. And the black ones that you see on top are the ones that will be inside, like a facing sort of thing. But they are cut from the same pattern piece, they will be the same size. And this one over here is the side front there. You can see the princess seams there. Those bias cut strips of interfacing that were 3.5 inches wide or 9 centimeters, you can see them there, they've already been fused on the bottom of the back, the side back, and the side front over there. And I've shown you sort of how I did that, sort of like block fusing a little bit. I was concerned that my fabric would shrink vertically and I'd end up with shorter pieces than expected. And with the yokes and all the other pieces, I did block fuse. I fused the piece of fabric I was going to use and then I cut out my pattern pieces. I've rearranged the pattern pieces so you can see what the back looks like. You can see the center back and the 2 side backs and then the 2 yokes on the top. I've rearranged and now you can see the front pattern pieces. Now we have the wrong side of the fabric up right there. You can see all the scribble marks on my fabric. That means if I go ahead and place this wrong side onto my body, that wider front is on my right side of my body, and that's how it's supposed to be. The wider side goes on the right wearer's side and the narrower front goes on the left. When things like that look confusing, just put the fabric against you and you won't be confused after that. That is the side front, and the 2 little yoke pieces that go on the top. These ones are non-interfaced, these little yokes. These are the 2 strips of 1 inch wide interfacing that you need to fuse on where the zipper is going to go. So this is the right wearer's side. On that long edge, that's where the zipper is going to go, and on the left, it's not going to go on the edge, it's going to go on the princess seam. So after fusing that, I annoyingly had to mark everything again, the notches, the circles, everything, because the interfacing covered it. So that will happen to you. So on this one, there's a dot there, marked it on the right. And on the left princess seam, there's a dot there, a dot and a triangle, and then 2 notches there. I almost forgot this step. Here are the 2 pieces for the sleeve, mirror images of each other, 1 for each arm, of course. These are the little pieces, extra little pieces. That long one there is cut on the bias and it's the binding for the neckline. These shorter ones are also cut on the bias and they're for the cuffs. This is what you need for the lining. It's essentially the same thing, the same pieces, only cut differently. Remember, we cut 2 of these. These are the interfaced ones. These are the ones that will go on the inside. So I've got the right sides of the fabric up. If you go ahead and place this right on your chest on the left, the right side of the fabric will be touching your body, and that's how the jacket will be made inside, same as this one. You get the right inner side, the interface side. If you put this onto yourself, you have the right side of the fabric touching you, and that's how you will wear the jacket. So there are the lining pieces for the side fronts. Nice satin I found in my stash. And those yoke pieces are interfaced. These are the lining pieces for the back. You have your yoke from the main fabric that's interfaced, the center back. There is a little pleat there that I have pinned. So, you know, you find in jackets that there is a center back pleat to give ease to the lining, and then the 2 side back pieces. This is just so pretty. I can't wait to make this. These are the 2 lining pieces for the sleeves. They are the same as for the main, just cut out in lining fabric. These are all the pieces needed for the pocket. The little ones on the top are the pocket facings. Those are interfaced. 2 pairs of pocket bags from the main fabric and 2 pairs of pocket linings. Now, it's the same pattern piece. It's just that you fold away a little bit. After you cut that out, this one is a tad shorter here than that one there. But they come from the same pattern piece. You need a 21-inch zipper or longer. Mine is way longer. It's the only one I could find. And 2 short ones. I just made sure to buy ones that had matching gold teeth. They are different brands. They have different zipper pulls, but you know, it's the only thing I could do. I will for sure need to trim away some teeth. Here is a sneak peek of the jacket on, the actual fabric and the zipper sewn. I think it's following the shape of the bust really well. Princess seam is super well shaped on both sides right there. So I'm really happy with that. So the tiny bit of ease that you see here is normal because there's meant to be sleeves there. If I wanted to make this sleeveless, I could tweak this yoke and bring it in a little bit up here. I would have to tweak a lot this armhole to make it sleeveless and be nice, but it's not supposed to be. But look at this, so nice. So nice. And I'm very happy with the length. It's the length at the center right there. That's going to be the length of the jacket. Now at the back, I feel I have a little bit of excess there. And so on this side, I have pinned like a 1/4 inch there at the small of my back, and I think I will take it in that tiny little bit there and then just bring it out normal at the hip there, and I think I'll have better shaping at the back there. Okay, so I've got the jacket inside out and you can see how better the shaping is at the back. So it's a 1/4 inch literally, and then a few inches up tapering to nothing, and then a few inches down tapering to nothing. I'll show you this up closer on the sewing machine. I really like taking the opportunity to get garments to fit me better by doing these little tweaks, and I will definitely try on a few times while I sew. And I think this is the perfect opportunity to do this in the construction of this jacket. Okay, this little horizontal pin marks the small of my back, or my back waist height right there, and it's just a 1/4 inch in, and then it's just about 2 inches up that I'm going to start from there, bring it in a 1/4 inch, and then bring it back to the normal seam line. 2 inches up, 2 inches down, and I think it does make a huge difference to the way the back looks. I'll be sure to mark this on my pattern piece so that I know if I make this again. Before I show you the jacket, I would like to let you know that I didn't do any top stitching on this jacket. This is a suiting fabric, it's sort of formal-ish, houndstooth. I wanted my jacket to have a really clean, elegant look, so I opted out of top stitching. I didn't want to have top stitching anywhere, and I didn't do any contrast with the yoke pieces or anything like that. Done it a little bit different. I always think top stitching, when it's in the instructions, is sort of optional anyway because it's like decorative. I didn't want to have that on my jacket. So this is my beautiful, beautiful Cerro Alto jacket. I can't tell you how much I love it. Here on the top you can see the front yoke. It's got a seam that is diagonal like that. It would be top stitched, but I didn't do that on mine. Same there on the front. And the neckline is sort of round like this, and it's finished with bias tape made from the same fabric. I sewed the bias tape onto the right side, and then I flipped it to the inside, and inside it's been slip stitched by hand, everything. And it took a while. I just watched the movie and did that, but it gave this such a clean result. Otherwise I would have had to stitch in the ditch or edge stitch, and I would have a visible stitch there that I really did not want to have. So that's what I've done with that. It was one of the last steps of the jacket. I had already done such beautiful work to get it to look like I wanted it to, so just doing a bit of hand sewing at the end wasn't that bad at all. That's what I've done there. On the front you have the princess seam that has the zipper in there, so half of the zipper tape is inside this princess seam. This is why it was super important for me to make the muslin and to make sure that it was going to fit me. Before I even made the muslin, I did flat pattern measurements and I dropped the bust height by 3/4 inch. It is possible to do on princess seams, and it's pretty much standard. So I have a video on the channel showing you how you can lower a bust point on a pattern with princess seams. If you want to see how it's done, super easy, super fast. I did that even before doing the muslin. So when I did the muslin, I confirmed. And it's important, you know, you have a zipper in there, you want the curve to actually be proper, like following the bust. So I thought it was really important. On the other side, you can see this other front is asymmetric, it's bigger, and the other side of the tape is on this side. So when you zip it up, it'll be asymmetric like that and flop open like that if you want to. Down lower, this side, the princess seam is intact. It's just sewn normally, nothing special with that princess seam. You have the zipper welt pocket, super fun to sew. I had difficulties marking this fabric to get that nice little rectangle mark. So I had to do all these weird marking techniques that involve paper. It's crazy sewing, but it works. So I just put a piece of paper and sew on the paper and then rip the paper out to mark and sew that rectangle. I have shown that before in other patterns as well. So these zippers are terrible quality. They are super stiff. When I open them, they want to twist a little. You know, they are for show, they are for looks. They have the gold teeth that match that. But it's not like I'm going to be zipping them and unzipping them and using these pockets because they are just terrible. Inside is the same lining fabric I've used for the jacket. That's the lining pocket bag, and behind there you have the pocket bag out of the main fabric. They are tiny pockets, they are very tiny, like you could fit maybe a credit card, a lipstick, I don't know, something little. Look, it's just so hard to close these zippers. I'm really disappointed I couldn't find better zippers, but oh well, I'll just never use them. They are just there, they look pretty. I don't need to be fiddling with them. At the back, you have the yoke at the back that is also meant to be edge stitched on the top. I didn't. And the princess seams right there. So when I was trying this on, I felt I had a bit of excess fabric here. I think it's raining. So you saw that I did pin and take it in here at the small of my back just to give my back that shaping that I need for it to fit my body better. That's what I love about princess seams, because you have more seams on the body to give yourself some extra shape if you need to. On the inside, this front piece is cut twice, but the inner side is interfaced, so it's quite large there, made out of the main fabric. On this other side, the left side, it's smaller. You only needed to cut 3 pattern pieces out of the lining fabric. I didn't have much of this beautiful lining, but it was enough to cut these pieces. There is a little pleat there on the center of the lining. So you have yoke pieces on the inside as well that are interfaced. That gives the jacket so much structure. So the same yoke pieces that are on the outside are not interfaced. The ones on the inside are interfaced. And then you have the lining pieces. I didn't have enough of the beautiful lining for the sleeves, so I just have boring black lining on the sleeves. But no one ever sees the lining of the sleeves. I mean, no one sees the lining anyway, unless you like open up your jacket and show. But tell me this isn't beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful in my eyes. It's got red, it's got black, it's got green. It's that lovely pop of color inside that no one will see, but that makes me super happy. When I just see this like that hanging on a hanger, it just looks so beautiful, in my opinion. The hem at the bottom is sewn by hand in the instructions, and I love that. I just love the fact that it's sewn by hand, because this is a really nice, well-made, tailored garment. Why would you want to ruin that and sew it by machine? I can't fathom sewing anything with machine like that on a blazer. You saw that the main pieces were interfaced partially here on the bottoms with bias cut interfacing. So that gives the bottom of this jacket super nice structure. The hem is folded and all this area is interfaced. It's just so beautiful. Like, I've made tailored garments before with techniques I've learned in the past, passed down from my great aunt, and I was just ecstatic to find these techniques in a garment like this. Sometimes in patterns you'll find that some techniques are just simplified or they're just not there, and I know that they could be. So every little technique that you see in this jacket is so good, so top quality. Here, when you're joining the jacket to the mane, you'll find a little pleat there. So there is a little bit of excess there. And that is perfect because the lining has to be longer than the jacket. If you've seen blazers around or people wearing them where they walk and this is pulling up, it's because the lining doesn't have that little excess length here at the bottom. So look, you have excess ease. And I do this when I line my things. So just finding that the pattern was drafted like that was amazing for me. I mean, everything that Kenneth does is really top notch to create a pattern like this with all these details, with all these instructions, with cup sizes. I just take my hat off because it's amazing. My Cerro Alto jacket, super elegant Moto type jacket, love it. I made it in a suiting, green and black. I love the length. Everything about this jacket is just so special, and I've never been more proud of a make actually. It's just so nice. It feels really amazing on. It's got an asymmetric zipper, so if you zip it up in different ways, you can have different looks. You can zip it up partially and just have this sort of flap like that, or just close it up completely like that. Princess seam has the zipper in there. Got it paired with my Edelstone jeans and just a black cami. I could wear a dress underneath. I have enough fabric left to make a pencil skirt if I want a really formal type suit looking outfit. I'll get to that eventually. Maybe you can see more details here. I like this length just at the mid hip. I didn't need to add length to the sleeves or add to the jacket. Colorful lining inside. It's got some green and red and black. I think it looks really nice. At the back, I took it in at the princess seams a little just to give it some more shaping at the back for my body. So having those extra seams always helps. I want to show you the zipper pockets. You know, it's nothing I'm going to use or going to be opening and closing to put things into. They are very tiny inside, very tiny. There is the same lining fabric I used for the jacket, and behind there is the main fabric. These look super pretty. I would never use them, but they were really fun to sew and they just give the jacket a really nice look. Love it. There you can see the end of the sleeve, how it's finished with self-biased binding that is made from the same fabric. Super structured, so it's really easy to work with. And I did sew it all by hand in there. I didn't stitch in the ditch. I mean, I sewed it with machine, flipped it and sewed it in by hand there. I think it looks really delicate like that. Here you can see some details like this front yoke. This could be top stitched or done in a different fabric for contrast. I just chose to do mine with the same fabric, no top stitching. At the back you can see the yoke, the back yoke and the back princess seams. The feet on the shoulders and the sleeve is perfect. Very easy to set in, not difficult at all. And you can see the zipper coming in from this princess seam. And then it comes from this center panel from this other side. This is how the neckline looks, all zipped up to the top. Neckline is bias bound with the same fabric. I actually stitched this by hand on the inside, so I don't have any visible top stitching or stitching in the ditch or anything like that. I think it gives it a really clean finish. So then you can wear it like that, sort of semi-open but still zipped up here at the bottom, or just fully open like that. Love how this jacket looks in every single way, zipped up, partially unzipped. Super love it. It's just so nice. So proud of this project. It took a while, you know, lots of steps, lots of little things to be careful with. Such a lovely result. I mean, I could buy this in a really expensive shop. I just couldn't be more thrilled with this jacket. So happy with it, so happy. I really hope you enjoyed seeing the details of this jacket. I really want to motivate you and encourage you to try to improve your skills, just to try new things. You know, sewing can take you so many places, and it's really easy to get stuck sewing t-shirts or like knit dresses when there is so much more that you can achieve if you just put your mind to it. Take a bit of time and try a pattern like this. Has amazing instructions. Also, the Facebook group From Itch to Stitch is super helpful if you're having a problem with a specific step or instructions. There's lots of support there. So I do encourage you to have a look at a pattern like this. Don't think it's impossible. You can do it if you just follow and go ticking step by step and don't rush it. Just take it slow and you will be extremely proud of something like this. I feel extremely proud of having made this jacket. I want to make it again in a simplified way that would be unlined, maybe finished inside with Hong Kong finishes, maybe. But I definitely do want to make this jacket again. It fits amazing, and now that I've made it once, I sort of know what to do, so it's always easier the second time. All the patterns are 25% off except for the Antrim dress, the Celeste dress and the Mountain View jeans, which are the sort of recent releases. But this jacket, the Cerro Alto, is 25% off, and the sale ends on Sunday the 11th through midnight. So you still have a little bit of time to get this pattern for 25% off if you would like to. If you want to support me also, you can use my affiliate link. I am an affiliate for Itch to Stitch. I'm proud to be so because I can vouch for the quality of these patterns, and I love making them, I love sewing them and wearing them. If you want to see more Itch to Stitch patterns, I have a playlist with over 40 videos. This is the Celeste dress. This one's 20% off. I love this dress. I am actually in testing right now for something very exciting coming soon from Itch to Stitch, and the pattern I am testing now is actually in the new improved size range up to 40, from 00 to 40. So keep an eye out for another nice pattern from Itch to Stitch that I am testing right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye!